Hello and welcome to another video on this channel. Not just another video actually. After what seems like a very long time, we're doing a gear review today. Thank you to all of you who voted in the little poll that I posted on YouTube a few days ago asking whether or not we should do gear reviews here. 89%, the majority said yes, which I'm glad about because I think this is a unique opportunity for me to give you honest feedback and opinions about the various pieces of riding gear, luggage, and other things that I get the opportunity to use and test during my trips. And because I spend so much time on bikes and traveling, not right now because currently we're all in lockdown, but you get the point. So thank you for your votes. Thank you for making the time to do that. And today we're kicking things off. On the review table, we have the Viaterra Grid full gauntlet motorcycle riding gloves. Before we get into the review part of this video, I just want to give you a small overview of these gloves. These are full gauntlet motorcycle riding gloves made of goatskin leather. Now, in terms of protection, these gloves have quite a bit going on. High density TPU knuckle protectors as well as wrist protectors. On the palms, there are Nox SPS sliders. Essentially, if you fall off your bike and land on your palms, typically because of the friction and abrasion, your palm would grip the ground, which increases the likelihood of injury to the scaphoidal region. But when you have sliders, well, you slide. So that's the idea behind those. Also nice to see on these gloves is the pinky bridge, an additional piece of leather, and they stitch together your ring and little fingers. Basically what that does is it reduces the likelihood of your little finger sort of separating and getting injured in case you fall. I got these gloves sometime in July last year and I've done more than 5,000 kilometers in them. I rode through Ladakh, through Nepal, Tibet, and a few shorter rides here in southern India. So basically I've spent a lot of time in these gloves in different weather conditions, different terrain, and on different motorcycles, and hope to present you with fairly well-rounded information about them. The first and most important thing for me is fit. Technically, these gloves are pre-curved for fit, so theoretically you don't need to break them in, but in real life use I did find that some level of breaking in was required. These are leather gloves after all, so when I first started using them there were a few pain points and niggles on a few fingers, but that went away after a few days of use, and thereafter these have consistently been the most comfortable pair of full gauntlet motorcycle riding gloves that I've used so far. The internal foam padding does a good job of making sure you don't feel any of the hard parts even when your fists are clenched. And the goatskin leather is quite soft and premium, so it allows you good levels of control and feedback when you're using these gloves on a motorcycle. The little pinky bridge is an addition that takes a little while to get used to because we're not used to having our ring fingers and little fingers sort of moving jointly together. They tend to move independently most often, but it's again something that I got used to very quickly, and thereafter I quite like it actually. Now these are summer oriented gloves. The leather has perforations and there are dedicated air inlets on a few of the fingers, all of which work together quite well to allow the air to flow in and keep your fingers cool when you're on the move. Now obviously they're not going to be as light or breathable as short cuff summer gloves, but when you want the higher level of protection offered by full gauntlet leather gloves, there will be a little bit of trade-off. What was most surprising for me was when I was riding in Ladakh with these gloves, I expected that because they're so breathable, I would not be able to use them when it started getting colder. But I found that I was able to use just these gloves on an entire ride through Ladakh as well. All I did is when it got sort of cold, I used a thin woolen glove inside, and in combination with that I was able to manage an entire ride with just these gloves. So that was interesting to find out because it meant that I was able to use these across a wider range of temperatures than I typically am able to use most gloves in. But when it comes to rain, the story is a little bit different. Water and leather don't go well together, most of us know that. So while these goat leather gloves technically have some level of water resistance, and you will notice that they have a visor wipe on the left index finger, which indicates that these are probably designed for some amount of use in the rain. Actually, I think that it's better to avoid getting them wet to the extent that you can. I say this for a few reasons. One is because These are perforated gloves, so if you ride in any kind of wet weather, your fingers are going to get wet. And two, once the leather gets wet, it's going to take a significant amount of time to dry, and you're going to need to put in a little bit of effort to condition the leather to make it soft again, and thereby ensure that you continue having a comfortable fit of these gloves. In terms of durability, again, they've been great. Contrary to the advice I gave you a few seconds ago, I have actually used these gloves in the rain, more because I wanted to see what happened if I used them and I got them wet, and how they sort of withstood abuse. So rather than use, I've sort of abused these gloves, and surprisingly for me, 5,000 kilometers, not really treating them very well. Everything is held together. No tears, no seams coming undone, no holes in the leather. Even the Velcro patches, which are typically a weak point in gloves like these, I've noticed that several of them, when you keep using the gloves and putting them on and taking them off, eventually one of the Velcro patches tends to tear off because the stitching comes loose, but actually that hasn't happened with these. So those are the bigger things about these gloves, the information that I wanted to share with you about fit and comfort and durability and other such important things. But there are also a few smaller touches that I've noticed because I've been using them so much that I particularly like. They have the touch sensitive leather on 2 fingers on each hand instead of just 1 finger on each hand like we've seen on most gloves. So this way you actually have 4 fingers to choose from which one is most convenient to use on your phone or your GPS. That doesn't seem like something big, but when you're randomly using your phone in a particular situation, suddenly you just appreciate the fact that you can also use your thumb. The other thing, which is again literally a small touch that makes a big difference, is the addition of clips to the inside of the glove. Basically there are these 2 tiny clips, male and female, and it allows you to clip the gloves together. This is a great way to keep your gloves safe and together if you're putting them away in your bag and using a different pair for a certain while. Eventually you will find them both together. But more importantly, for a person like me, it allows significant convenience when I'm walking away from the bike. I don't need to hold the gloves in my hand or shove it inside my helmet. I can just clip it onto my belt buckle, or I can clip it onto a bag, and that's about it. My overall experience with these gloves, the Viaterra Grid, has been positive. Like I was saying, the initial hiccup around fit made me a little bit skeptical, but after I used it for a few days, that went away, and thereafter they have been really comfortable, reliable, effective and durable. At about 4,800 to 5,000 rupees for a pair, these are not the cheapest full gauntlet riding gloves that you will find from an Indian brand, but they're not that much more expensive from what others have to offer. I do think that they offer significant value for money at this price point, and that they are one of the best options currently available in the Indian market for good quality full gauntlet leather motorcycle touring gloves. Thank you for making the time to watch this video. If you have any more questions about these gloves, please drop them in the comments below and I will try my best to reply to you. In the meanwhile, I'm gonna head off to try and make my next video. I will see you soon. Alarm. 2 seconds ago there was a bus honking and driving down this road. Now the factory alarm goes off. Hopefully eventually we will be able to record this video.